Okay.
Government, businesses, Hollywood, entertainment, media, politicians, billionaires, tech moguls around the whole world helping Klaus Schwab to take over the world.
Welcome to Understanding the Times Radio with Jan Markell, Radio for the Remnant, brought to you by Olive Tree Ministries. Today, Jan begins a two-part series with Pastor Billy Crone. They look at the rush to globalism led by a mysterious man named Klaus Schwab. Will believers ever see this one-world system? Who are the major players today participating in this effort? This and much more in the next 2 weeks. Here is today's program.
As we began the journey last week, the reason why is because this guy, Klaus Schwab, and his evil gang of global elites, including the current administration over our country, is all working together to do this. But here's the point for you and I as Christians. I'm convinced that it's all part of these guys doing what God said would happen in the last days. They are building right before our very eyes. The secret power of lawlessness is already at work, building the Antichrist kingdom. The sixth satanic murderous behavior is not just Hitler on steroids. It is exactly what the Antichrist is going to do in the 7-year tribulation. And again, we traced the trail with that, and we saw that there's a reason why. Where did Klaus Schwab get these ideas to take over the planet and even be a part of a modern-day Holocaust with the COVID pandemic? Well, it's his upbringing. We saw that his dad was buddies with Hitler's and the Nazis. Okay, last week, if you were here, he was a model company for them. Okay, and this is where he's getting his ideas from. But again, we're not going to call it a modern-day Holocaust. Hitler 2.0, and that freaked people out. He just calls it, and not the Third Reich, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, or the Great Reset.
Welcome to the program. Call it the Reset, Agenda 2030, or even the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Use any of those terms. It's simply a repackaged version of what God prophesied long ago that would come to the planet when we are living in the last days. And it's the coming Antichrist kingdom and the implementation of the Mark of the Beast system. Could a mysterious figure named Klaus Schwab be the man behind a system that is literally paving the way for the Antichrist and his shadowy World Economic Forum, that is Klaus Schwab's WEF? Should it be any surprise that Mr. Schwab actually has some ties to the Nazi Third Reich? Certainly his family does. Or are organizations like mine and my guest today, Pastor Billy Crone, are we just sensationalists wrapped up in complex conspiracies too unbelievable to even consider? I think if you've listened to Understanding the Times radio for any length of time, I would hope you have concluded that I err on the side of being cautious and conservative. Our small community of faith, we just don't need any more black eyes or any more accusations that we just see headlines leaping out of the Bible and we run with them and twist them and make them sound appealing and convincing. The outfit known as the WEF World Economic Forum is targeting 2030 like so many others, and that is to implement their mysterious agenda that many people simply find hard to believe. I believe the actual reset 70th week of Daniel, the time of Jacob's trouble,そうしないと危ないでしょ。だからああいうところで無理に U ターンするよりも信号から U ターンした方がいいし、安全な方向を取った方がいい。お母さん、テキサスのシステムは違うから彼は。I'm beginning a two-part series today. This really is all about the rush to the New World Order, so you're going to hear that term frequently. And then we are carrying Pastor Crone's newest DVD set titled Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum, and the Coming Mark of the Beast. This is a 12-teaching DVD set that examines many aspects of this globalist one-world outfit that's pushing a shady leader, Mr. Klaus Schwab. So we're going to have a lot to say. Pastor Billy Crone, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Jan. It's always great to be on.
The significance of 2030. In 2030, is that a magical number? Is it preordained by some globalist that Nearly every shadowy organization we might mention on the air today somehow has, let's just leave it at they're talking about 2030. So what's the magic with 2030?
That's their target date that they want to have in place. This program from Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum and all the global elites and leaders around the world who've been trained by him and his organization want to have in play. And why you and I as Christians need to get equipped on this issue is because everything in the so-called Great Reset is everything that the Bible mentions will be a part of the Antichrist kingdom. When you look in Revelation 13, you see that in the 7-year tribulation, there's not only going to be an Antichrist and a false prophet, but they're going to institute global changes. And those global changes are a global government, a global religion, a global economy that is apparently cashless because they tie each individual person to that cashless system to control the buying and selling biometrically, specifically in the right hand or in the forehead. And believe it or not, when you go behind the veneer of the Great Reset with their goal to have it in place by 2030, it's everything that the Bible talks about with the Antichrist kingdom.
If we follow their agenda, we're going to be promised a paradise. Of course, a green paradise. Everything is around the green agenda. A new healthcare system. They promise vaccinations for everybody will be provided. There'll be no fossil fuels. We're going to be in harmony with nature. They also use the term, and so do you, the fourth industrial revolution. What does that mean?
This is what Satan does. He takes the same old lies to dupe people, to get them to sin against God, turn away from God, lead them away from God for one generation. And all he does is relabel it, repackage it for the next generation. So relabeling deception, that's the modus operandi from Satan. And this is what these guys are doing. They call it the Great Reset, or oftentimes it's the fourth industrial revolution, sometimes Agenda 2030, but they're all the same thing. I remember when I began to go down this rabbit trail a few years ago, actually, I began to say, wait a second, fourth industrial revolution. And then I began to learn about Klaus's upbringing in Hitler's world and how his dad, Eugene, was buddies with the Nazis. And I'm going, wait a second, could this really be what's happening? So I began to take a deep dive on, okay, let's go back to World War II. Let's go back to Hitler, the time when Klaus grew up, except he was on the German side of the camp. And what did Hitler want to accomplish with what he called the Third Reich? And let me just read to you real quick, Jen, what Hitler was promising, and not just for Germany. He wanted to bring this to the whole planet, this Third Reich. But the Third Reich was installing a complete totalitarian state where all aspects of life were controlled by the government. The way he got the German people to go along with it initially was promises of, just like we hear today, the Green Agenda, creating a wonderful utopia on the planet. And this is why they need to give up their personal freedoms. Then they began to take over everything. They took over the schools. This is in Nazi Germany, universities, the press, theater, arts, movies, radio, all forms of education. And they were only to promote this Third Reich, the Nazi ideals. Then they took over all aspects of the economy, production, employment. They began to usher in slave labor. And anybody who resisted was hauled away into camps and erased from society and or put to death. And then the chosen ones who went along with the Nazi agenda, they were promised these utopian dreams. Now listen to this. This is, again, the Third Reich. This is what Hitler did. They were promised a car for every home. And that car was called the People's Car, translated today as Volkswagen. It's just like they promised today, electric vehicles and things of this nature. We're going to save the planet with new forms of transportation. But Hitler also went on to control the healthcare system. Sound familiar? Big Pharma. Also, they began to do medical experimentation on people against their will, supposedly for the good of all. And then, this one blew me away. Hitler even had promises of, quote, saving the planet, lowering pollution, saving animals and trees. And this is why he had to confiscate private property. Does that sound familiar? That's exactly what's going on, Jen. It's straight out of the Third Reich. And then all Klaus did was relabel it, not the Fourth Reich. That's what it should be called. He just calls it the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And let me add this one aspect, because this is very relevant for today, so-called Christianity. This is what Hitler did in the Third Reich. They implanted inside the Protestant church fakers who would eventually take over the Protestant church and only promote the Nazi agenda. And I think that's another aspect that's going on as well.
And in the film, the DVD set, and we carry it, Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum, and the Coming Mark of the Beast, but in the film, which is a documentary, you ask, how has he done it? How has he so skillfully, it took 50 years, but how has he so skillfully put this all together? And this is you, Pastor Crone.
The question again is, how in the world did this guy pull it off? How did Klaus Schwab, German-born, Nazi-influenced guy, get so many global leaders and elites and governments around the world to join him in creating this sick, evil, twisted, satanic, Hitler-revived dystopian vision, this new world order, the Fourth Reich, which he tries to pacify by calling the Fourth Industrial Revolution, also known as the Great Reset? How did he do it? Well, let's break it down. The first way he did it was by controlling world leaders. Believe it or not, folks, many years ago, Klaus Schwab knew, obviously, he couldn't pull this sick, twisted, satanic, dystopian nightmare off for all of our futures by himself. No way, not even close. So, this is why he also created a group years ago, basically a global recruitment camp within the World Economic Forum. It's called the Young Global Leaders Program. And there he groomed these future worker bees to aid him in implementing his evil, wicked, dystopian global agenda upon the whole planet. But of course, you're not supposed to know or see that, okay? So they pitch themselves as some sort of altruistic group of goody two-shoes who are only here to help us and lead us into a time of modern utopia, as you can see falsely being promoted here.
We recognize that the world is changing at an incredible pace. What the World Economic Forum does is bring together leaders from all different backgrounds, from all different walks of life. And that provides a unique space for new ideas and new solutions to flourish. It is really a very unique place. It's a place where industry comes together to work with government, to work with NGOs, academics, to truly make a difference in the world.
Leaders come together because of their own personal commitment to one another, to see follow-up to the discussions that they had at our meetings.
I'm generally really skeptical about panels and debates and presentations and whatnot, but I've actually been shocked to discover in the last year that it makes a huge difference.
The present challenges in a complex, interconnected, fast-moving world cannot be met by one stakeholder group alone. It needs collaborative efforts.
Magic moments happen all the time at the World Economic Forum, where the right kind of constituent unexpectedly will come together with somebody else who's looking for exactly that expertise.
Not only do the multi-stakeholder groups that we bring together talk, they also make changes.
A lot of the answers reside with practitioners, civil society voices, social entrepreneurs, young people, and others who are on the ground working with these populations at the front lines and finding solutions.
It challenges all your assumptions about your existing worldview, regardless of which part of the world you're from and how much experience you have.
Nowhere in the world is there another forum which brings together governments, NGOs, corporate leaders, activists, artists, musicians, to all come together and talk about the biggest issues facing the world.
See? It's just a group of elites from all walks of life working with Klaus Schwab to talk about the issues of the world for our own benefit. Really? Or is it global elites from governments, businesses, Hollywood, entertainment, media, politicians, billionaires, tech moguls around the whole world helping Klaus Schwab to take over the world? I think the answer is obvious, as you'll clearly see as we continue to progress in this documentary.
If you join me late, you're listening to Understanding the Times Radio. Jan Markell here, and have on the line from Las Vegas, Pastor Billy Crone. He is senior pastor at Sunrise Bible Church in Las Vegas. You can learn a lot more at his website, getalifemedia.com, getalifemedia.com, and the fantastic items he has available. Pastor Crone, interesting clip that's from your presentation, but I'm jumping here to a topic in front of me because you suggest in the presentation that Joe Biden is a puppet of the World Economic Forum. Do you feel the WEF is running the Biden administration?
Oh yeah, we should have learned that even when Biden was campaigning for president. The easy way, Jan, to demonstrate that was Biden's campaign slogan, most people didn't get it because at that time, a couple years ago, people hadn't really begun to do the research on Klaus Schwab, the Great Reset, and all the things that are going on now. But his campaign slogan was Build Back Better. He also mentioned the phrase that we're headed for a dark winter. Now, I remember watching that during the debates and the election campaign going on, and even the secular press, some of them would say, well, Joe, you need to pick a more positive outlook, saying that dark winter, that's not going to win votes. Well, the gig was up, folks. The phrase Build Back Better and dark winter, that's straight from the lips of Klaus Schwab. In fact, we put together a string of videos, world leaders around the world, including Biden, including Trudeau from Canada, including Angela Merkel, including Macron from France. Just pick a world leader, and every single one of them use this same phrase, Build Back Better.
Let's stop there. Let's play it.
We also want to work together on building back better from the pandemic, a slogan that I think that Joe has used several times. I think he may have nicked it from us.
Once we shut down the virus and deliver economic relief to workers and businesses, then we can start to build back better than before.
But it is undoubtedly an opportunity for us to work together and build back better.
Build back better.
As the world recovers, we have a chance to reset the clock and build back better than before.
And building back better our economy and society.
We owe it to future generations to build back better and base our recovery on solid foundations.
The second plank in Build Back Better advances racial equity by mobilizing our infrastructure. Together we can fix this. Let's build back better.
Building back better after disasters is also vital to prevent creating new risks. Together, we can build a safer world.
4 sets of priorities can guide the response to Build Back Better.
You know what Donald Trump will do with 4 more years? Blame, bully, and belittle. And you know what Joe Biden will do? Build back better.
So, Billy Crown, I've made the assumption that all of these leaders are lackeys of the World Economic Forum.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I remember when I first started exposing this, Jan, even speaking about this in some conferences around the world, people are just jaw-dropped. They're going like, no, could it really be? Could these people have penetrated every developed country around the planet from Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum? Yes. And for even more proof, not only the phraseology that you hear for them to come out, but go back to a couple years ago when the jab issue arose, as one person says, how is it that more than 190 governments from all over the world ended up dealing with that same issue in almost exactly the same manner, with lockdowns, mask mandates, the jabs, and everything everywhere? Well, it's because it's coming from the same source, and they're using the same buzzwords. But for even more proof, because people go, that just sounds like a conspiracy theory. That's why you just heard it on tape. I'm not making this up. But the other proof, and I actually invite people to do this, go to the World Economic Forum's website. They don't hide this. In fact, they have a program called the Young Global Leaders Program. They've been training people for 50 years to follow the program of the Great Reset, this new version of the planet, this Fourth Reich from Klaus Schwab. And it's a searchable database. It not only lists each year's graduates, but you can search for these people and they pop up. You could go see it for yourself. But basically, as you heard just on the tape, Bill Clinton's been a part of this for a long time, both him and Hillary and Chelsea, by the way, the whole Clinton Foundation. But also you got Biden. He's the man handpicked for a time such as this to do what Klaus wants him to do, even here in America. But every developed leader, Trudeau, we got him on tape, Klaus admitting on tape that he, the World Economic Forum, not only has handpicked Trudeau, which, by the way, people were amazed. How did this guy get a second term? Everybody can't stand him. Well, because it's a fix. But Klaus admitted on tape, and he's gleeful about it, that they have penetrated the whole Canadian government. He admits it. That's what they've been doing for 50 years. He founded the World Economic Forum in 1971. And so basically he's had 50 years to train people with his new Fourth Reich agenda that he relabeled the Fourth Industrial Revolution, the Great Reset. And he's had 50 years to plant these people all around the world. Once they got into place, then they needed something to create a crisis so you can manage the outcome. You can begin to put the Great Reset into place. This is what's going on, folks. You can go to their website, and let me share this too, Jim. A lot of people say, well, it's just people like the Democrats and the Bidens, the leftists, the liberals, the Green Party. Of course, they're working with Klaus Schwab. They're anti-American. Folks, I hate to tell you this, but if you go look at the World Economic Forum's website, search the database, you're going to see it's both sides of the aisle. Many Republicans are also graduates of the World Economic Forum program. Also, every big corporation you can think of are a part of the World Economic Forum. And that would include people like Jeff Bezos with Amazon, people like Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook. Of course, the Gates are part of that as well. And once you see, Jan, where all of this is coming from, it all starts to make sense. And then you just let them speak, and they tell you where they're steering the planet. I'm convinced where they're steering the planet, only the Bible tells us the right terminology. They can call it the Great Reset, Fourth Industrial Revolution, all they want. These guys are building what the Bible warned about 2,000 years ago is called the Antichrist Kingdom.
Here's what would be the result of them building back better. Just a few examples, folks. Again, you've heard me talk about 15-minute cities on this program. No automobiles, tiny apartments, own nothing and be happy. It has to be, I believe, as Billy Crump just suggested, this is probably under the Antichrist. I don't know that anybody on Earth now has enough charisma to force all of this upon the world's population other than the Antichrist. They don't even want us to have free will, no religion, no faith. Privacy will be a prehistoric thought, no meat, digital money. This is part of building back better. This is how deluded these people are. They believe in it, but they probably won't live under these circumstances. Would I be right, Pastor Crone? They'll have their elite way of having a good life.
Jan, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's exactly this satanic agenda that they're bringing to the planet, whether we want it or not. In fact, you can see this in their message. When they talk about this new utopia that they're building, the Great Reset, they exclude themselves in the terms. It's not for we, it's not for us, as in everybody, including them. They always use the vernacular for the rest of us, the people, the common Joe. You know they're not going to live under these restraints. In fact, I'll give another little homework assignment. People want to go check out the World Economic Forum website, look at their Young Global Leaders program, and just check out all the graduates, both sides of the aisle, folks. Let me give you another one. The World Economic Forum also has a YouTube channel. They talk about this Great Reset, and they've narrowed down to 8 things that they say, boy, isn't this going to be great when we reset the planet with all these things. And the first thing that a lot of people have heard about is we'll own nothing and be happy about it. Which translates, they're going to own everything, and no, you're not going to be happy about it. But they get us to think that that's somehow a great thing. The second one is very alarming to me, Jan. Certainly as an American, I'm going like, how is this not a national security issue? But they admit on tape, you can see this on their YouTube channel, the U.S. will no longer be a world-leading superpower. To me, that's a threat that these guys have plans to take down America. And that's exactly what they're doing. And you're going like, well, why would they specifically call out the United States? They didn't say China's no longer going to be a world superpower. They didn't say Russia. They didn't say India. Why did they pick on the United States? Well, go back to the agenda. The agenda is to take over the world. It's not like government, create a new religion, climate change, but also to take over the economy. What is the current global economy built upon? It's the dollar. So if you're going to reset the global economy in this new digital economy and then biometrically tie everybody into it, then you have to get rid of the existing system. That's us. And that's what you see Joe Biden doing from day one of him getting planted in the White House. The very first day, he shuts off the pipelines. Why? Because he begins to reverse what was put into place the previous 4 years. We had energy independence. We had an economy that was going gangbusters. So Joe Biden was brought in to begin to dismantle the American economy to crash the system. And he does have plans to bring about a digital economy. And he's already signed the executive order. I believe it's 14067. And that was over a year ago.
Yep.
And people are saying they're waiting for the next crisis when the economy gets so bad, which is being dismantled on purpose. Then it becomes the excuse to bring in what's called the digital dollar. It's also known as Biden bucks. All of this is happening, and people say, Biden just keeps making these really dumb decisions. And no. yes, the decisions are not good, but Biden is doing this on purpose. They're not just dumb decisions, because all the decisions are destroying our economy. They're deliberate decisions, Jan, because he was put into place to get rid of the American dollar as we know it, which will create a global crisis, to give them a global excuse. Aha, now we need to institute the Great Reset. It was fixed from the beginning. I've got Joe Biden on tape. This is a 2016 speech he gave at the World Economic Forum, and Klaus Schwab introduces him, and he's gleefully smiling, looking over Biden. And this again was in 2016, and he oozes over Joe Biden, basically saying that he is one of his favorite disciples, and he admitted that he'd been coming to the World Economic Forum long before he even was vice president, back when he was just the senator. And this is from Schwab. He was one of the hardest working folks working with the World Economic Forum. And then Biden gets up after that introduction and starts talking about the fourth industrial revolution and how it's going to bring about, quote, a digital revolution. This is all on tape.
Folks, if you'd like to learn more, again, I recommend it strongly. The DVD set we carry, olivetreeviews.org, olivetreeviews.org, with my online store. 6 DVDs, 12 teachings, Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum, and the coming mark of the beast. Here's where I want to go in section 2 of my programming. And by the way, this is part 1. We're going to carry this into next week. It'll be a 2-part series with Pastor Billy Crone. What we're talking about, these global schemes, how is this leading to the literal mark of the beast? And again, Billy Crone and I believe that what we're talking about is very likely what's known in the Bible as the time of Jacob's trouble.
エルマニから来たら、クレジットカードのペイメントあれあったじゃない、ビッキーちゃんの$4000っていうやつ、あれ払っちゃって、お母さん。
そのつもりだ。来てから考えます。
$4000でしょあれ。そういったものを全部なくしちゃった方がいいから。後で負担になるから。全部そういうもの全部。ペイメント。
Fascinating setup to a system outlined 2,000 years ago. I always say it's a privilege and a challenge to be born for such a time as this, because we are watching the Bible unfold as we speak. I'm coming back in just a minute or two. Don't go away. Continuing on with Pastor Billy Crone.
We hope you'll stay in touch with us online through olivetreeviews.org. That's olivetreeviews.org. You can call us Central Time at 763-559-4444. That's 763-559-4444. Write us through the mail at Olive Tree Ministries and Jan Markell, Post Office Box 1452, Maple Grove, Minnesota 55311. That's Post Office Box 1452, Maple Grove, Minnesota 55311. All gifts are
もし
tax
進
deductible.
学で何か言われたらさ、こう言おうかなと思う今日。
Thank you for trusting Olive Tree Ministries and understanding the times radio.
言われたらさ、先週来てませんでしたねってまた連絡したけどね。だからはっきりと、日本人の常識として挨拶しに行きましたって。
だって行ったことは知ってるんでしょ。
そう。
だから別にいいじゃないですか。
ただあれも変だよね。行ったのに、私たちが行ったのにもさ、先生に紹介しないでさ、それでバイオリンのあれが終わったらさ、自分たちでさ先に出て行ってさ、で私に挨拶していくっていうからさ、私もついでに行ったらさ、他の人と挨拶するさ機会もなかったんだから、ちょっと変だね、そういうところって。
その状況とそのいきさつを見てないから私には何にも言えないけどさ、何にもわからないから何にも言えないけど、いちいちそういうことにこだわることもないと思う。
だっ って掛け持ちしてるさ教会なら、自分がリードしてる教会ならさ、その副牧師にさ説明するくらい。
そんな必要ないでしょ。
で私だってオーデインされてんだからさ、バスク室でオーデインされて先生って言ってる割にはさ、そういうところはさ、だからジョークで言ってんのかな、先生何のためにそんなこと言うのかな、それもおかしいじゃない。
掛け持ちじゃなくて、教会には本当に定着してる牧師がいないんじゃないの。この間の週報を見たら、小玉だかなんかっていう人は、
宝田
っていう人は世界中を回ってる人じゃない。
世界中回ってんの？
書いてあったじゃない。世界中だってどこまでの世界中か分かんないけど、外国を回って派遣されて回ってる人よ。
派遣されて回ってる人なの？だって47年間テキサスにいるっていう人だよ。でそれで人が牧師じゃなかったらさ、だって新学先生が1ヶ月に1回あそこで集会持ってる、1ヶ月に1回プレイチするんだから、あそこで
シスターチャーチだからでしょ。それはよくあることじゃ
ない。でフルタイムだってだから仕事掛け持ちしてないでプレイチだけでやってんだって。
多分フルタイムだったら教団からお金の給料が出てるんじゃない。
Between religion, which is the result of man's reasoning about God, and Christianity, which is God's revelation to man, there would come to this world a great movement toward God. The one book in all the world that shows clearly the difference between religion and Christianity is the Bible. If and upon that little word hinges everything as far as this subject is concerned. If people would only read the Bible, read it with an open and unbiased mind, they would see that many things that are done in the name of Christ and in the name of religion are not Christian. This is the record of God that shows clearly the difference between religion and Christianity, or religion and salvation. The word religion, as it is now being used in America, denoting religious service, is used only 5 times in the New Testament. It is used in a bad sense 4 times, and it is used in connection with a Christian doing good work 1 time. The word is never used in connection with salvation or in connection with faith in God or Christ. The Bible never states that men should get religion, nor does it teach that religion will save one's soul. Neither does the Bible teach that Christ came to start a new religion. The reason for this confusion between religion and Christianity is that the mind of man is blinded by sin. He is blinded by sin, yet he is well aware of the fact that he needs a Savior. And in his desperate attempt to find a solution to his problem, he reasons, but reasons wrongly. He reasons away from God. This is the first difference between religion and salvation.
だってお母さん話がさ違うのはさ、敦子さんの娘がさ結婚したって私聞いたよ。それだったら結婚したってお母さんが言ったんじゃない？私に。いやそうかもしれない。連絡があって、それをなぜさね黙っておくわけよ。覚えてないよ。そう言って聞いたんだから。いきさつとしては。でそれをさ私に伝えないでさ、でそれで私は何度も言ったじゃない。最後に別れる日にもさ言ってくれと。敦子さんが土下座して私にさ言ったんだから。結婚 しちゃったら仕方ないよね。
連絡がないからもう結婚したんじゃないのって言ったと思う。
じゃあ連絡がないっていうことは、じゃあ結婚する娘の結婚するためにずっと私に会ってたんならばさ、そういうリスポンシビリティをさちゃんと引き持ってないでさ、私にさ言ってたっていうのはさ、良くないことじゃない、お母さん。そういう態度っていうのは。
あの人たちはアメリカに来たくってグリーンカードのスポンサーを探してただけよ。
だってそれなら私が結婚すればさ、グリーンカードのスポンサーだってできたわけでしょ。それをなぜさ言わないわけよ。
何よ。
私たちだってグリーンカードのスポンサーヘルプできたわけじゃない、結婚すれば。それで何度も会ってんだからさ、それで夫がさ亡くなったっていうことを聞いてるんだから、私だから夫と葬式も行ってからさ、これはさ結ばれてると私だって思ってるよ。夫がさクリスチャンでクリスチャンと娘を結婚させたいっていうことだったんじゃない。ってことはさ、もう何でもかんでも言わないけどさ、でもそういったミステイクっていうのは一生さ悔いになることだよ、言っとくけど。でもう52歳になってる。
新しい出会いを見つければいいじゃない。
もう出会いなんかないよ、全然。52歳だよ。
若い女の子がさ
教会にさもういないよ。だって若い女性っていうのはさ、お金をさくれって言うんだから、そんなお金もないしさ。
そういうのは詐欺でしょ。
だ全員そうなんだって、全員。だからいないんだって、そういうの。
またさ、人と巡り合った時に、
巡り合ってたおばさんとは結婚しないよ、もう私は。
巡り合った時に素敵な男性だなと思われるような。
だからおばさんとは結婚しないよ、独身だよ。もうほら教会に来てる男の人いるじゃない、あの人も独身なんだよ、ずーっと一生。結婚する相手がいないから。
やっぱり服装だとかさ、態度とか物腰とかで、ああこの人素敵だな。
だから教会にほら今行く新垣先生の
気をつけて、
新垣先生の教会に行くところでも男の人いるじゃない、小柄の。あの人も独身だよ、一生。結婚する人いないから。
気をつけて、こんな時だった時にですよ。
あつこさんちょっと連絡してどうなったのか。
もう連絡先わからないって。
なんで？
あそこもなんか財産の問題が弟とあって、お母さんは亡くなってていろいろあったから、もう連絡つかないよ。第一向こうがしてこないでしょ、何年も。
何年もって 2,3 年の間じゃない、それも。何年もって5、6年。
なんかあったのよ、きっと。
何があったの？
知らない。
だから何かあったのって、なんでそれ予想で言うわけよ。何もわからないわ。
弟と裁判沙汰になったり、お母さんが亡くなってその財産をどうするこうするって、そこまでしか知らない話は。
見つけることできないの？見つけようと思ったら見つけられるよ。
やってごらんと。
E メールとかあるじゃん。
だから通じないんだって。
E メール出したの？
何年か前にお元気ですか、どうしてますかってやったけど返事もないし。
また出してみればいいじゃない。
返事もないし。
いや、また出してみればいいじゃない。一生悔いに残ることになっちゃってる。で、めぐみさんの娘もさ、付き合いがあんな長い、毎日さ、朝から晩までさ祈ってたりもさ、娘が結婚するって、娘がさユニオンチャーチのさ不老者やってる日本人と結婚しちゃってるじゃない、2人とも。誰もさちゃんとお母さんがさ面倒見てくれって言ったらさ、今頃結婚してたよ、私だって。そういうきっかけもさなくなってしまってんだよね。
人に せいにするもんだね。
犠牲になんかしてないよ。ただそういう気遣いをさしてくれてなかったってことで、祈りもしてくれてないし。
じゃあ先生に相談してみよう。今日
相談すりゃいいじゃん、そのこと。相談すりゃいいよ、そのこと。だから教会に来てる男の人いるじゃない。
気をつけて。
教会に来てる男の人さ、結婚する相手いないから一生独身ですっていう。で私も一生独身かね。私が婿になればいいんだね、誰かの。そして他の国に行って検事に面倒を見てもらえばいいよ、一生。私来てるんだからもうお腹島やめるよ。そういう婿になればさいいんだから。ちょうどいいのこれ、ほら前の車と比較してこないよ。45マイルしか出してないんだから。あとはあれだね、男誰だっけね、あとほら最後のことはね、誰だっけ、コンピューターのなんていう人、コンピューターの男、直してる早川さんの娘が来た時に、早川さんの娘が頭にこの私に手を置いて祈ったわけでしょ。だから聞いといてちょうだい。あれは身分の高い牧師がさする行動で、ああいうのは。
自分だっていつも一緒に頭手
やってないよ、私はそんなことしないよ、言っとくけど。
私にだってやったじゃん。
私ね、でも関係ない。一日初めて見た人がさ私にやるっていうのは良くないことだな。あれは全然知らない人なんだから、ただそれことをしたんだから。だから結婚するから早川に言っといてちょうだい。それは娘さんを私が見とるので、適切に紹介使うので、早川さんに言えばいいよ、電話して今日。電話して言えばいいよ、早く連絡して今日帰ったら。進学先生1時に来るから、今12時45分。あそこまで歩いて行ったら10分かかるでしょ。ちょうどいい。
お父さん掘り出してさ。
お父さん掘り出してないよ。あそこでいつも歩いて行ってるのがいつも。
私いつも間違い。
あそこで歩いて行ってる。
迷うの。
一緒に行けばいいよ。一緒に行けば。
お父さん外行ってタバコ吸うの。
一緒に行けばいいよ。
この間は
一緒に行けばいいよ。
奥さんが私を見つけてくれたの。うろうろうろうろしてて。
こっちに寿司入ってるから、ここ後ろ寿司入ってるから、ここ。
He said, I'll give you $1 million
Or he said, secondly, I'll give you 1,000 acres of ranch land and 200 whitehead cattle. Or, thirdly, I'll give you my daughter, my beautiful daughter in marriage, if you want it. About the time he said that, they heard a splash. And they saw a fella swimming as fast as he could. And the alligators were after him. Everything was going, and he got out on the other side a few minutes later, and he was torn, bleeding. He had to be helped. A doctor came and helped him. And the rancher said, which one do you choose? The three things I offer: the money, the cattle, or my daughter. He said, I don't want any of them. He said, I want the name of the man that pushed me in. Well, we've got the names of a few people that pushed us to Louisville. And we found it to be the most thrilling experience you could have when you become an 82-year-old man. It's really been... And to have Cliff Barrows and George Revelachet with me after all these years, I'm with them, I don't know which, but we've been together since we started in evangelism. And what a glorious thrill it's been to work with them. And then all the churches that have cooperated here, my goodness, I couldn't begin to name them. And